This morning in worship, we read and reflected on the third chapter of Paul's letter to the Ephesians, which is in effect the conclusion of the first half of that letter. Whether or not the letter was actually written by Paul or by one of his contemporaries, the first half of Ephesians lays out a beautiful theological underpinning for the first century church of Ephesus, not to mention for us in the here and now, to live the Christian life faithfully, creatively, with energy, in community. In chapter 4, Ephesians switches to a Christian ethic, in other words, how to live the life and what that means. So if chapter 4 and beyond is the how and the what, then chapter 3 is basically the why of the Christian life. The author pens a poignant prayer that in all of their efforts, the gathered community would be strengthened in their inner being with power through the Spirit, and that Christ would dwell in their hearts through faith, rooted and grounded in love, and be filled with the fullness of God. That's the author's prayer for the church of Ephesus, and that's our prayer for this day. Our church's mission is no different than that of the first followers of Christ, making disciples, feeding the hungry, seeking justice, loving God and neighbor, praying without ceasing, glorifying God and enjoying God forever. And our challenges, particularly the mistaken notion that we have what it takes to do those things ourselves, is no different either. Sometimes we probably even get overwhelmed by the complexity and the gravity of such a high and holy calling. Who are we that we are responsible for all the church is called to be and to do? But in our passage this morning, we're reminded that we are worthy for that calling and we have what it takes. We're worthy not because of our skills or our abilities, but because we're a child of God and we take our name from that God. And we have what it takes because it's not up to us to do in the first place, but the power at work within us of the one who is able to accomplish abundantly more than we could ever ask or imagine. To God be the glory indeed.